Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Horror. Now tonight we're going to be watching a movie that we have not yet done here on Saturday Night Horror. We've been going a little over 3 years now, and it actually surprises me that I haven't watched this movie here yet. Tonight we're going to be watching the original, The Evil Dead. Not the remake, the Bruce Campbell original. Now The Evil Dead, I've only seen this one time, and that was over 10 years ago. I actually saw it at my friend's place. Years ago, every couple weekends, we had what we call a horror movie marathon night. We get together, order in, and we stay up the entire night watching horror movies. And that's where I first watched The Evil Dead. I remember I really enjoyed it. But since it has been over 10 years, I don't remember everything that happens in this movie. I know it's kind of a cabin in the woods, completely isolated, and demons start possessing the people in the cabin one by one. That's always a good thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching it again tonight. I'm excited about it. Now as far as cooking goes, I'm going to make chili cheese dogs, but we're going to use homemade chili. Pretty simple, easy to make chili, but we're going to do homemade chili for the chili cheese dogs. We're going to be watching The Evil Dead. It's going to be a fun night. So I'm not going to waste any more time talking about it. We're going to go out to the kitchen, get our meal done, so we can watch our movie. I'll see you out there.
Let's go out to the kitchen. Let's go out to the kitchen. Let's go out to the kitchen and have ourselves a snack.
Alright everybody, here are our ingredients for our homemade chili. That's what we're going to do first. So like I said, pretty easy to make, not a whole lot. Of course you have your ground beef right here. Gotta have that. We have tomato sauce, kidney beans, and chili powder. That's it. That's all you're going to need for this homemade chili. Like I said, pretty simple to make. And I've got the pan heating up right now because we're going to start cooking that meat. Alright, so we got the meat cooking here. And you know me, I like to chop the meat up. I like to get the meat, pieces of meat just as small as possible. I absolutely cannot stand huge chunks of meat, so I'm going to chop this up and get it as small as possible. Alright, while the meat's cooking, we're going to rinse off these kidney beans, but first we're going to, that liquid's nasty, so we're going to dump it in the strainer here, and we're going to do it one can at a time. Get those last, now you see why we have to rinse these off first. So yeah, we're going to rinse these off, get some cold water going. First going to spray them with a hose, and then we're just going to sift through them, but yeah. Alright, so we finished rinsing both cans of the kidney beans. They are good to go. We're just going to leave them in this strainer here, let the water drain out until the meat is completely done. Speaking of the meat, it's coming along real well. Yeah. Alright, so the meat is done cooking. What I'm going to do now is drain all this grease out. Do not want that grease in there. That is absolutely nasty. So I'm going to drain the grease out, and then we're going to mix in the kidney beans. Alright, so I got the crock pot here. Drained the grease out of the meat. Mixed up the meat and the kidney beans. Stuck it in the crock pot. Now we're going to add everything else. Alright, so we added 4 cans of tomato sauce and our chili powder. And I'm just going to mix this all up, and we'll cook it for 8 hours. Alright, everything is mixed up now. Yeah. Like I said, this is going to cook on low heat for 8 long hours. So for me, it'll be 8 hours. For you, it will be just a few seconds, but it's going to be real good when it's done. So yeah, 8 hours, man. Let's get it started. Alright, it's been 8 hours, and let's see if I can get this out with one hand. This might burn a little. Yeah, it's kind of hot. Okay, we got it. I had to put the camera down and get it, but yeah. 8 hours later, the chili is done, and man, it looks good, it smells good, it's gonna taste good. Alright, so now we're gonna cook the hot dogs, and the first thing we're gonna do is I got a pot of hot water on the burner here. Turn the temperature up to high, and we're just gonna put our hot dogs in. So, we'll go ahead and just cook them all. That way we'll have leftovers. Now these hot dogs have thawed out today, so they are not frozen, which is awesome. Usually I get them right out of the fridge or out of the freezer and put them in, but since they're thawed, it won't take as long to cook. And that makes me extremely happy. So that's what we're going to do first. We're just going to leave them in here, and when the water starts boiling, they're done. So it'll take a few minutes, but we'll be back. Alright, so the water's boiling. It was actually boiling a lot more. I had to turn the heat down. So they're done. Alright. Oh yeah. So they're done. I'm going to put them in a bun, throw some chili, some cheese up there. It's going to be time to eat. Alright, here we are. First thing we're going to do is put some chili up there. And my hand will probably get in the way, so apologies. Oh yeah. Hey, Tiger. Hey, buddy. Gonna watch a movie with me tonight, buddy? Got Tiger and Bella in the kitchen right now. Two of them together is usually not a good thing. Alright. Got our chili. Sprinkle some cheese up there. And I always like to be generous with the cheese. Okay, might have got a little carried away right there, but fine. Now what I like to do is I like to put this in the microwave for about 35 seconds, get the cheese melted. So we're going to do that now, and we'll come back when it's done.
You did. You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
Alright everyone, here we are, the finished product. Chili cheese dogs. Using homemade chili, and man, that looks awesome. That is freaking beautiful, man. Now don't get me wrong, I like canned chili, but nothing beats homemade. So yeah, that is it. And now that we've got our food, we need to get a drink. So let's look in the fridge here, and let's see what we've got. Oh yeah. Alright, got our chili cheese dogs and ice cold Coca-Cola. Let's go out front and watch our movie. Alright, so here we are. We've got our food, we've got our ice cold Coke. Let's turn off the last light in the house. There we go, all the lights in the house are off. We've got the Evil Dead playing, we've got good food, the best drink in the world, and an awesome movie. It's gonna be a good night. And speaking of a good night, look who decided to join me. Tiger's out here. Now Bella was misbehaving, so I yelled at her. She left, and since she's not out here, Tiger decided to come out. So yeah, my buddy is out here. It's been a few weeks. He's probably going to go to sleep. And what did I tell you? Tiger is going to sleep. So yeah, Bella's not out here, so he decided to come out here and get some peace and quiet. I'm watching a movie. He's sleeping. It's fine. That's my buddy, Mr. Tiger. Alright, everyone, the movie's over, and I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. Anytime you get demons possessing people in a cabin in the middle of the woods, it's always going to be a good night. The chili cheese dogs were awesome. The homemade chili, like I said, real easy to make, but it is so good. So yeah, good meal, an ice cold Coke, great movie. It was an awesome night. Tiger even came out and watched the movie with us. Well, he was out there while the movie was on. He was taking his nap, but you get my point. Speaking of Tiger, he was actually in this room. He left and came in this room when I started setting up everything to record my final thoughts. He left, so yeah. I guess he figured I was out there when he watched the movie. That's good enough. So anyway, The Evil Dead. Like I said, the cabin in the woods. I love that setting. I love the isolated feel. Just something about it, especially if it's a shack or a cabin in the middle of the woods, isolated, completely cut off from civilization, out in the middle of nowhere. I absolutely love that setting. So the setting was awesome. That is one of my favorite settings for a horror film. You can never go wrong with that. And that's the case with The Evil Dead. I absolutely love that setting. Man, this was kind of... it was pure 80s horror gold. But it was a little over the top at some parts. Some parts were just... they were absolutely ridiculous, but in a good way. They were ridiculous, but I enjoyed them. It wasn't one of those where it's ridiculous and you're just shaking your head like, oh, God, that's so stupid. It wasn't like that at all. Some parts were over the top, but they were fun. They were awesome to watch, so no complaints about that whatsoever. The cast. Y'all know me. When it comes to most horror movies, majority of the time, I do not find the cast likable at all. As a matter of fact, I'm usually rooting for the killer. I usually can't wait for the cast to be absolutely slaughtered in the most brutal way possible. This movie, I was kind of neutral. I felt like I didn't really care what happened to the cast. I didn't care if they survived. I didn't care if they died. And yes, that includes Bruce Campbell. It's not that they were unlikable. I just found myself not caring what happened to them. I was just more interested in watching the events that were playing out in the movie. I mean, if they survived, cool. If they died, awesome. I just really didn't care. We had one idiot in the movie. There's always that one idiot. And it was a girl who heard voices down in the cellar. Then she heard them out in the woods. So in her infinite wisdom, she runs out into the woods by herself and starts calling out, "Hello? Are you there? I know you're out there. I heard you in the cellar." Why? Why would you do that? Why? If you hear creepy voices, why would you run out to the middle of the woods by yourself and try to call them out? So anyway, after she calls these creepy voices out because she's just a genius, these demonic forces possess the trees. And we get a scene which I've only seen in this movie. I've never seen it happen in any other movie, no matter what genre. She gets, let's just say she gets taken advantage of by tree branches that have come to life. That scene is just as weird as you think it would be. I haven't seen it since, but I felt myself not feeling sorry for her because she was dumb enough to run out there into the woods because she heard creepy voices. Should have stayed in the cabin, dumbass. I'm sorry. Anyway, this movie had a lot of practical effects, and they were freaking awesome. I've always said I have no problem with CGI, but I'm a practical effects guy. I love practical effects more. It's just, and this is going to sound really weird, but practical effects to me make it more realistic. I think practical effects have always been more realistic, and they just bring something to the movie, especially horror movies. They just bring something that CGI can't. And the practical effects in this movie were awesome. Speaking of practical effects, they have some stop motion scenes as well. Usually, stop motion is so bad that it's funny. But in this movie, the stop motion was actually really, really good. I usually laugh at stop motion in horror movies. I didn't in this one. It was just done really, really well. And there was a scene near the end of the movie where these demons start to melt. Oh man, it was awesome. So, practical effects, stop motion in this movie was freaking awesome. The gore level, that's everything I kind of wrote down to talk about. Might talk about more here. The gore level in this movie, if you're not a fan of gore, this probably isn't for you. Like I said, some parts were over the top. There was a lot of gore in this movie. I was fine with it. I thought it added to the movie, which is weird. Usually, an insane amount of gore usually doesn't add anything. They're just going for shock value, but this actually worked with this movie. So yeah, if you're having a weak stomach, definitely stay away from this one. It is pretty gory. But all in all, Evil Dead was an awesome movie. It was a fun movie, and especially with the lights off. And right in the front of my house here, you walk out the front door and you see nothing but woods. So having all the lights off in the house, the woods, my back to the woods while I'm watching the movie is freaking awesome setting, man. It doesn't get any better. So the original Evil Dead is definitely recommended. I highly recommend you check this out. You will not be disappointed. The Evil Dead 2 is actually a whole lot better than the first one, and we actually never watched that on Saturday Night Horror neither, so we'll have to change that. There is a third movie in this franchise, Army of Darkness. I have never seen that. It looks absolutely ridiculous, but I'll give it a shot one of these years. So yeah, overall verdict, The Evil Dead, awesome. Definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed. If you're a Bruce Campbell fan, consensus is this is what got him started. This is what made his career. So definitely check it out. So, that being said, this is episode 98. 2 more until we get to 100. Now, I have a whole bunch of ideas for episode 100. And with that being said, I don't know if it'll come out on time, because it might take a little longer to put everything together, but I have a whole lot of ideas. I'll have to see how it turns out, if I'll be able to implement all these ideas I have for it, but I'm looking forward to it. So that being said, everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode of Saturday Night Horror. If you have not watched The Evil Dead, hope you definitely give it a try. It's definitely worth your time. And that's it. So, thanks for watching. Hope y'all have an awesome week. Awesome rest of your weekend. Appreciate all y'all watching. Take the time to watch this video. I know you have a lot of choices out there on YouTube, so you took the time to watch my video. I appreciate that very much. Hope you enjoyed it. So with that being said, y'all take care, and I will see you on the next episode of Saturday Night Horror.